Namaskar students. I am Mrs. Kavita Upadhyay, your English teacher. Once again, I welcome all the students of class 10 to their English class. Let us begin the lesson. This is unit composition. We have already studied 3 parts of unit composition. This is part 4 of that unit. We have learnt in the previous parts writing process, that is CODER, coder. I hope you remember what is coder rule. Writing, controlled composition, paragraph and short compositions. We have already attempted these things. Controlled composition, paragraph writing and short composition. We have learned the use of connectors. We have learned the use of active and passive voice, where to use active and where to use passive. And we have learned some describing words. And we have used them in writing. Now, before we begin today's lesson, students, here is my question for you. Before people began to use telephones and internet, how did they communicate with people who were away from them? The answer is simple. They used ink and pen to write on a paper, and that was carried to the person to whom the message was meant by a messenger, or even they used pigeons, and these were called letters. This is the history of letters. It is a long history. Now we write letters. Objectives of today's lesson are to help you know the types of letters. How many types of letters are there? That will be told to you. Then to help you know the important steps in writing informal letters. Students, this part of the lesson is going to deal with informal letters. We will tell you the important steps in writing informal letters. Then to tell you the format of informal letters. Format. When we write letters, format is an essential part of it. That will be told. To practice writing informal letters. Now we come to letter writing. Let us know what letter writing is. All of us write letters to communicate with people who are away from us. If the people who are not living with us, who are staying away from us, we write letters to them if we wish to send some message to them. The purpose of writing a letter can be to invite, to inform, to apply for a job, to express sympathy, to complain, etc. These are various purposes, and there are several others also. Every letter has a sender, a receiver and a situation. When a letter is written, there should be a sender. Sender means a person who is sending the letter, who is writing the letter to somebody, and a receiver. A receiver is a person who receives the letter, for whom the letter is written, and a situation. And there should be a situation which gives a sense of purpose for writing the letter. What is the need of writing the letter? That is the situation. Now, types of letters. How many types of letters are there? There are 2 types of letters, informal letter and formal letters. Informal letters are also called personal letters because they are written to people who have personal relations with us, like our friends, relatives or family members. And formal letters are written to people with whom we have formal relationship, not personal relationship. They may be related to us officially, or because of some business we are doing with them. So formal letters are written to officers, ministers, to principal, business relations, to apply for a job, to editor, and to the people you don't know personally. Now, things to be kept in mind while writing a letter. When you are writing a letter, what things you should keep in mind first? First is the purpose. The situation will give you the purpose for what you are writing the letter. That is the main content of your letter. Then person to whom it is being written. That is the receiver. Who is going to be the receiver of the letter? This will help you to choose the correct format. When you keep in mind the person to whom you are writing, it will give you an idea whether you have personal relationship with that person or official relationship with that person. And if you have personal relationship with that person, you will use informal letter format. And if you have official relationship, you will use formal letter format. Third thing that you have to keep in mind is tone. That should be adopted. If you are writing a formal letter, tone should be formal. Tone means the language, the type of language which you are going to use, the phrases, the expressions, they should be formal if it is a formal letter. And for informal letter, language should be informal. We will discuss it in detail later on. Action required and suggestions. If you are writing a letter with a purpose, there should be some action required, some suggestions, or anything, any content of the letter, you should just organize it. CODER, you remember that? C means collect your ideas. There should be ideas and they should be organized. Completeness and conciseness of expression. Expression should be concise, that should be to the point, and it should be complete. Okay? These things have to be kept in mind while writing a letter. Now, format of an informal letter. When you are writing an informal letter, you should write the letter in correct format. And this is the correct format of writing the letter. First thing is, it is left aligned. Why? Because everything is beginning from the left. Every line begins from left, and there is no use of comma in the address. This is called block format. Earlier when we used to write address, we used to write it with comma. No use of comma is here. Sender's address is the first thing that we write. Then comes date. Then comes salutation. Salutation means greeting the person who you are writing to. And then comes the body of the letter. Body of the letter includes 3 paragraphs in a personal letter. First is introduction. Then the purpose or the theme. This is the content, main content of the letter. Then comes conclusion part. And after that, in the end, you use subscription. Subscription and then signing off. You write your name and sign off. We will discuss these steps in detail further. First, note down sender's address, then date, then salutation, then body of the letter, comprising 3 paragraphs: introduction, purpose, conclusion, and subscription and signing off. These are the steps in writing the letter. We shall discuss them in detail now. Important steps in writing an informal letter are, first thing that you have to keep in mind is left aligned letter format is to be used. Earlier there were indented forms also, but nowadays only left aligned letter formats are used. These are current. You should learn them only. Sender's address. When you are writing the sender's address in informal letter, it should be short. Maximum 2 or 3 lines. And even if you mention the place, name of the place from where you are writing, that is sufficient. Like you are writing a letter from Dehradun, maybe some college or school, don't write the name of the college, just write Dehradun and that is sufficient. No use of comma in the end of each line while writing the address. Date, June 11, 2020 or 11 June 2020. This is the best way to write. When you write month in words, this is the best way to write because it saves you from all sorts of confusion. Because in America, if you read this date, it will be, month is this, November. November 6, 2020, because we write month first in American form. But Britishers write day first and then month. So it will be 11th June. So to avoid this sort of confusion, we should write date as June 11, 2020 or 11 June 2020. When you are writing June 11, 2020, you should use a comma between 11 and 2020. Now after the date, we write salutation. Salutation means greeting the person you are writing, addressing the person. That means dear mummy, my dear Ritika, or respected Dadaji. If you are writing to elderly person, you can write respected Dadaji. Respected and dear or my dear can be used. Now comes the content of the letter. First is introduction, then purpose, and then conclusion. For the purpose, you know the situation you are writing in. And then you have already learned paragraph writing. This purpose is a paragraph. You have to organize the matter that you have in mind and then write a paragraph, and that will fit in as a purpose. Then comes conclusion. Subscription. Yours lovingly. This is informal kind of subscription which cannot be used in formal letters. Yours lovingly, with love, yours affectionately, your obedient son or your obedient daughter. Okay? These give personal touch to letter, these expressions. So these are called personal letter subscriptions. Some expressions to be used in informal letters. In introduction, you can use these expressions like how are you, hope all is well at your end. That means you express your concern for that person you are writing to. Then, it has been long since I heard from you last. This expression can be used if you have not received a letter from that person for a long time. It has been long means long time since I heard from you last. It was a pleasant surprise to learn that. If you have heard something about that person, maybe through someone else or through a letter written by him, you can say it was a pleasant surprise to learn if it is a good news. And if it is a bad news, you can write, my heart was saddened to learn that. I hope you are doing well. These are the expressions with which you can begin your letter. These can be used in introduction. And for conclusion, you can write, convey my regards or greetings to, or, and note contractions like I am, can't, wouldn't, it's can be used in informal letters. I am means I am. I am is contracted to form I am. Can't means can, not. So this kind of expressions can be used because these are informal in nature. But these expressions, these words cannot be used in formal letters because formal letters should have formal tone. These don't suit that. Now let us check our progress. We have learnt a lot about letters and informal letters in particular. Let us check what we have learnt. Now let us check our progress. Now, here is a true-false type question for you. State whether true or false. You have to tell whether these statements are true or false. You can do it in your own notebook. You can use these signs to indicate true and false. The first statement is, a letter inviting my friend must be an informal letter. Second is, we should not write the sender's address in an informal letter. The third is, we cannot use contractions in an informal letter. Fourth is, the date can be written as July 15, 2020. Fifth is, we must not underline the date in an informal letter. Sixth is, we write an informal letter to our principal. Now keep in mind your relationship with your principal, then answer the question. Seventh is, we write the receiver's address in an informal letter. Who is the receiver? Receiver is the person to whom the letter is written. Do we write the receiver's address in an informal letter? The date is written in the top right corner. Ninth is, the salutation is written after the date in an informal letter. And the last one, the 10th is, nowadays letters are written in a right aligned format. I hope you've written all your answers. Let us check the answers now. The first is, a letter inviting my friend must be an informal letter, and it is true. This is an informal letter because I have informal relationships or personal relationships with my friend. We should not write the sender's address in an informal letter. This is false because the first thing we write is the sender's address in an informal letter. We cannot use contractions in an informal letter. This is false. We can use contractions like can't, I'm, you've. Fourth is, the date can be written as July 15, 2020, and it is true. July 15, 2020 or 15 July 2020, both are correct. And even if you use only numbers to write date, that is also correct. We must not underline the date in an informal letter. This is true. Date is never underlined in letters. We write an informal letter to our principal. This is false because we have formal relationship with our principal. We don't have informal relationships with our principal. So we write formal letter to our principal. Seventh is, we write the receiver's address in an informal letter. No, it is false. Receiver's address is not written in an informal letter. So this statement is false. The date is written in the top right corner. This is false because we are using left aligned format. The salutation is written after the date in an informal letter. This is true. Salutation is written after the date. First sender's address, then date, and then comes salutation. Nowadays, letters are written in a right aligned format. This is false because we are using left aligned format these days. Hope you have got them all correct. Now let us proceed. Point out the mistakes in this letter. Here is a letter for you, an informal letter. Do you think it is written correctly? First thing the person writes is date, 27/7/2020. Then he writes, Papa, I need money to buy a computer. Please send me 35,000 rupees. I am going on an educational tour. I will tell you later how much money I will need for that. Suraj. Now what is the mistake? First thing, he has not written the sender's address, which is the first step. Second, he has written the date as 21/7/2020. It is not wrong. We cannot say it's wrong. It's right, but it's not preferable. Papa. Instead, he should have said, Dear Papa or respected Papa. Show some affection or respect for the person you are writing to. Then, introduction part is missing. He has just come to the point. He needs money and he has just written how much money he needs and what else he will require in future. He has just mentioned that. Introduction part is missing. Then, no conclusion. He has not inquired about the health of his brothers or sisters or even mother. He has not written anything about his other family members. He has not conveyed his regards to anybody. And then he has just written Suraj. The subscription part is also missing. Your obedient son, yours lovingly. No such thing. Subscription is missing. So, sender's address is not there. Salutation is not proper. Introduction is missing. Conclusion is missing. Subscription is missing. These are the mistakes in this letter. Now, examples of an informal letter. Situation 1. You are Ruchi. What is your name? It is given in the question. You are Ruchi, studying in Dehradun. The place is Dehradun. Write a letter to your brother. Who you are writing to? Your brother Rachit. Advising him to study using online resources and apps during lockdown period. You have to keep in mind the purpose. What is the purpose of writing the letter? To give advice. Who you are writing to? Your brother. Brother's name is Rachit. So which format will be used? Because you are writing to your brother, your family member. So informal format is to be used. Tone should be informal and full of warmth. Warmth means affection. You have affection, you have love for your brother. That is why you are writing to him. So the tone should be informal and it should be full of warmth. Now let us collect our ideas before writing the letter. If there is any recent news, refer to that. In introduction, you will need to refer to any information that you have got about your family through some letter or through some message. Then refer to that because it is recent news. Or say, this oblique means or, say it has been long since I heard from you all, you last. You can write that you have not written a letter for so many days. You can mention that if you have not received any news, or ask if all are fine. Ask after their health. Now, COVID-19 lockdown. This is the issue we are going to discuss. Schools closed, online classes and learning through apps. Be regular, lessen screen time. Why? Screen time should be lessened. Why? Because it gives stress. Avoid stress, utilize time and energy in something productive. Now, here's the letter for you. Dehradun, 9 June 2020. This is place. I have not written the complete address. I have just written Dehradun. Then date, 9 June 2020. See, no use of comma. Dear Rachit, again no use of comma. It was a pleasant surprise to learn that you have scored A+ in all the subjects. Now you have a recent news about your brother and you refer to that in the first sentence. It was a pleasant surprise. Pleasant surprise because it is a good news to learn that you have scored A+ in all the subjects. I promise that I will give you a beautiful handmade card when I come home. This is expressing your affection for your brother. Now, this year is going to be a tough one as the spread of COVID-19 has forced our government to close all the schools. Teachers are teaching through Google Classroom, WhatsApp and other apps. This is the situation. This is now the purpose of writing is to give advice in this situation. I am sure that your teachers are also doing the same. I advise you to attend all your online classes regularly and complete your assignments in time. This is a sister's advice to her brother. It's wise. See the use of contraction. It's instead of it is. It's wise to avoid playing video games and using social networking site. It will lessen your stress. She gives a tip to lessen the stress, and that is to avoid using screen for a long time. And that can be done by not playing video games and not using social networking sites. Now, this is conclusion part. I hope you will make sure that you maintain your excellent grades in future. I wish you all the best. You are wishing all the best to your brother. Then do convey my regards to Mummy and Papa. Do convey my greetings, do convey my regards to Mummy and Papa. Take care. Shows your concern for them. Yours lovingly. This is subscription. And then Ruchi. Ruchi is the name given in the letter. You should use that name only if it is given. And if no name is given in the question, you should write X, Y, Z. Okay? If no name is given, X, Y, Z. If the name is given in the question paper, you use those names only. Okay? But in real life, if you are writing, write your name. Don't write X, Y, Z. Okay? Situation 2. You are Rachit. Now you are Rachit, you remember? The name of the brother of Ruchi? It was Rachit. Now you are Rachit. You have just received a letter from your sister Ruchi. Your sister Ruchi has written a letter to you advising you to study online. This letter we wrote just now. He has received the letter and you are the brother, Rachit now. Write a reply to her letter. It should be an informal letter because you are writing to your sister, and the hints are start telling that you have received her letter. First thing, you have received her letter, and then you have to thank her for her concern and care. She is concerned and she cares for you. This is to be mentioned by you. Then ask her to take care of herself and stay safe because she is staying away from home. You have to ask her to stay safe and take care of herself. Tell her you all miss her. You all means you and other family members miss her. This is showing affection and concern. This goes with informal letters. Okay? Do write it. Now situation 3 is You are Suman. Write a letter to your friend Aditi, inviting her to your brother's wedding ceremony. Your brother is getting married. Write a letter to your friend Aditi. You are Suman. Your name is Suman and your friend's name is Aditi. And the purpose of writing is inviting. Purpose of writing is to invite to wedding ceremony. Your audience, who you are writing to, is Aditi and she is your friend. Now prepare a mind map. When you are writing to somebody to invite him or her to your place to attend a function, there are so many things which have to be mentioned in the letter. What things you will mention? Prepare a mind map. You have to give her the date, the venue, the time. These things have to be given to her, and then you have to plan so many things together because she is your friend coming to attend your brother's wedding. You may plan to dance together or do something which is a fun activity. Okay? Follow CODER coder rule. Okay? Choose the letter format, follow that, and the purpose should be, purpose of letter that is inviting for wedding ceremony should be stated very clearly with date, time and venue. And then in conclusion you can write what is expected, what she can expect when she comes. Okay? Now situation 3. Imagine you are Aditi who has received invitation from Suman to attend her brother's wedding ceremony. Now you wrote a wedding invitation from Suman to Aditi. Now you become Aditi. You have received that invitation. Write a reply politely refusing the invitation. Politely refusing. You need to be very polite because you are refusing the invitation sent to you by your friend Suman. Follow proper format, that is informal letter format you have to use. Then thank Suman for the invitation. This is the first thing you will do, that I have received your invitation. I am thanking you for that. Say why you cannot attend the function. Say you will miss all the fun. Now here is an assignment for you children. Imagine you are living in the times of Thomas Alva Edison. You must have read your lesson, The Inventor Who Kept His Promise. You know what he invented. He invented electric light. You are living in the times of Thomas Alva Edison. He is your friend. You have to imagine him to be your friend and write a letter to him congratulating him on the occasion of invention of electric bulb. Okay? Write a letter of congratulations to Thomas Alva Edison as he has invented electric bulb. Write a letter to your mother. This is the second letter that you have to write. Write a letter to your mother describing a new friend you have got. You have to use describing words. You are going to describe a friend. Okay? Good luck for your assignment.